on this third night of Hanukkah, Temple Israel in Memphis was filled with music and lights from the Barbara K. Lipman Early Learning Center preschool Hanukkah program. Aren't they the cutest things ever? Well, Joe, what better way, of course, to honor the Festival of Lights than with a 5-star story that centers around Tennessee's first and largest synagogue.
Kim Clark shows you how a museum inside Temple Israel in East Memphis not only illustrates the religious and creative expressions of Jewish people through the centuries, but also details the life of an ordinary man who was dedicated to extraordinary change.
Temple Israel, founded in Memphis in 1853, is the only Reform synagogue in the city and home to the oldest and largest Jewish congregation throughout the Mid-South.
It was founded opposite the front door of the convention center downtown.
Since 1994, Temple Israel on East Massey Road has also been home to the Herta and Dr. Justin H. Adler Judaica collection in the Temple Museum.
My parents were Holocaust survivors.
Their daughter and Temple Israel Museum board member Susan Adler Thorpe explained why, in the 1950s, her parents began collecting art and religious objects which reflect Jewish life and culture.
It was their way of bringing the Jewish community back together again. A very small way, but very symbolic way.
The Adler Judaica collection includes roughly 175 pieces the couple found on their travels throughout the world and donated to the Temple Museum in 1994. Senior Rabbi Micah Greenstein says the museum is meant to edify and enlighten.
To educate the greater Memphis community, not just the Jewish community, but the greater arts community, how art is a medium like music to teach eternal lessons and values that ground us as humans.
The museum also hosts traveling exhibits, but after COVID closures and the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, the board wanted to focus more on healing and leadership through social justice.
So with further discussion, it dawned on us, why are we looking outside of Temple Israel? Why don't we look inside one of our own, Rabbi James A. Wax, who really dedicated his entire career as a rabbi to furthering social justice.
Righteous Among Men, Rabbi James A. Wax, a life dedicated to social justice, tells the story of the senior rabbi who led Temple Israel through some of this country's and city's most turbulent times.
He wasn't a marcher. He wasn't a person or a firebrand preacher who wanted to make a public display of emotion. He wanted to resolve the sanitation strike and worked hard at it behind the scenes.
But on April 6, 1968, as president of the Memphis Ministers Association, Rabbi Wax famously confronted then Memphis Mayor Henry Loeb over his refusal to end the sanitation workers' strike following the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
He's known as making the front page of the New York Times and every network channel, waving his finger at the mayor saying there are laws higher than the state of Tennessee.
That there are laws that are greater than the laws of Memphis and of Tennessee, the laws of God.
Rabbi Greenstein notes that Rabbi Wax's position was very unpopular at the time.
When he confronted Mayor Loeb, he caught holy hell.
Barbara Lapidus, a Temple Museum docent, has her own spot in the exhibit. She and her husband wrote one of the few letters of support sent to Rabbi Wax.
We wanted Rabbi Wax to know how proud we were of him and how much we appreciated and respected his taking the stand that he had taken.
Rabbi Wax was also an early proponent for mental health.
He said that mental health is as important as physical health in the 1960s. Now we all talk about mental health. He wanted to give voice to the voiceless.
A lesson still relevant for museum visitors today.
I hope they learn about a man who considered himself just an ordinary man, but who did extraordinary things at a time of great crisis in this city.
This exhibit is not meant just to review the past. It's meant for each of us to address the present in light of the past. It's about the power of one person to make a difference.
The Temple Israel Museum, celebrating and commemorating the Jewish experience, diversity, and human dignity by preserving history, something that makes us proud to call the Mid-South home. Kim Clark, Action News 5.
For more information about Temple Israel, the museum, and Rabbi James A. Wax, click on the link to this story on actionnews5.com.